Me and My Michelle. A true story by Lisa Kunze, as read on May 28th, 2018. When I was in junior high, in the mid-1970s, we lived on a cul-de-sac in Indianola, Iowa. My parents became friends with a new couple who moved on the side street at the very end of the entrance to our street, and my sisters and I became friends with their children. It seemed natural in retrospect, but I do remember what made them distinct in our community. My friend Michelle was a year younger, her brother a few younger than that, and their half-sister was just a toddler. They were black, like their mother, but their stepdad and father of their sister was white. A biracial couple in an all-white Midwestern town. Our parents enjoyed playing bridge and getting together with other neighbors, and the thing was, nobody really gave a hoot in my memory. The civil rights movement had happened a decade earlier, and we knew that biracial couples were not frowned upon. And I remember very innocent things with Michelle, playing Barbies constantly, learning how to do African American hair with the different products needed and why. And remember being fascinated with how the palms of her hands were the same color as mine. Yeah, the rest of her was a beautiful brown. Her mother was one of the most stunning women I have ever seen. She seemed exotic and strong, and Michelle loved her stepdad, never really talking about her biological father. In 8th grade, I joined our local Rainbow Girls group. In Iowa, many smaller towns have Masonic temples, where the adults are Masons or Eastern Stars and even Shriners. We had no DeMolay group for boys in Indianola and a very small Rainbow Girls chapter. It didn't seem strange to us back then to wear long white dresses and march to piano music around a room while reading rituals about developing character from a manual. There was even comfort in it, and not as religious as some other youth groups I'd tried. I longed to earn my way up to worthy advisor and have my own installation ceremony when I got older. Yet, over that year, the troop membership dwindled, and we were in danger of not having enough bodies to even have a chapter. So, we had a skating party membership drive after I was elected worthy advisor. I remember loading up a bunch of our neighborhood friends and other girls we thought might be interested into my stepdad's Suburban and heading the 20 minutes up to Des Moines to the skating rink. We had a blast, and we talked to Rainbow Girls on the way home. At the end of the night, we had enough candidates to maybe save us. All we had to do was formally submit the names to National, wait a bit for approval, a formality because no one had ever been denied, and initiate the new girls before my installation ceremony. The exact timeline and details from here get fuzzy, but I remember our adult leader gathering us up at the next meeting and telling us that one of the candidates had been blackballed. We literally voted for things in a box with balls like the lottery, and I guess Nationals did too. I remember asking who and why, and our leader fumbled through explaining that Michelle couldn't join because she was black. Oh, we didn't say African American back then. My black friend had been blackballed by an organization teaching me character. I'm not exactly sure how it became national news, but it did. Throughout the ordeal, the entire state of Iowa's Rainbow Girls charter was revoked because we were insisting that she deserved to be a member and that we needed her to save our chapter. We knew it was in the newspapers, but our parents shielded us from the ugly parts for the most part. Michelle received bags of letters supporting her. We never saw the threats and gifts, and somehow, in the end, Nationals changed their policy, and we knew we had won a major victory the day we initiated her, and she marched around that room proudly in her long white gown. I think I remember her being a celebrity with all of the other girls at the state Rainbow Girls Conference in Ames, the year 1,000 girls had to all go under C.Y. Stevens Auditorium in our long white gowns during a tornado. Michelle was a popular girl in school, yet had no date for the prom. She went with a swing choir friend, and we grew apart over the years. I remember running into her at the University of Iowa several times and was so happy that she'd begun dating, was smart as ever, and thriving in a more multicultural environment. We lost track until Facebook a few years ago, where I got to see her beautiful daughter grow and posted condolences when her stepdad passed away. She was one of only a few friends who called me when my mother died last year, and in our conversation we were the children playing Barbies, who had lived, loved, lost, and yet are still connected by an innocent friendship that endured horrible institutional racism we didn't even understand at the time. So how did this story shape my life in perhaps a way that was so subtle that I haven't even realized it? I became an involuntary activist at a young, formative age. My activism may have been simply asking a friend to join a group, but I did not walk away and allow it. A small group of women stood up, it spread, and I felt that power. I also felt the hate, and have wanted to dig up old newspaper articles or ask Michelle if she has any of her letters, but I'm also afraid to learn how bad the threats were. I also learned how racist I still was over the years by saying I didn't see color, by judging students who listen to the very rap music I now appreciate and love, by unconsciously grabbing my belongings tighter if an unknown black man appears near me in a big city, and wondering if Colin Kay was doing the right thing on that football field at first. I know I still have work to do as a human, and I believe that we have a grave problem being given permission to surface again. I saw it in this election and in how we now behave towards each other as humans on social media. It tears me apart at a very visceral level. I've learned not to project my feelings towards others, but sometimes I can turn the empathy off and see how it's driven my career choices, political affiliations, recent conversations, other life decisions. Every job I've had that I loved, from teaching sex ed to creating at-risk programs for inner-city youth to grant writing, raising my own children, and most recently being an advocate for cannabis legalization and research. It's all been rooted in activism for those less fortunate or marginalized in our society. I've suffered greatly as of late, and I thought that was my story. But when I was asked to identify one story that's made me, I went on a very reflective journey that took me right back to the innocence of giving a good girlfriend a Barbie and asking her to join a club. Michelle's the one who remembered the Barbie on that day on the phone last year. Told me she's never forgotten that act of kindness, but of course I didn't remember because I hadn't suffered from not having one. It frightens me that she might run to this grocery store someday in sweatpants instead of her work suit as a human resources professional. And she might be racially profiled and harassed or killed. And that my risk of that happening to is minuscule simply because of the color of our skin. We integrated the Freemasons. Google it. You find a few websites that address it, but really not much for how powerful that group is. Maybe because how powerful that group is. But I've done much good in this world because of it, and I can't settle for anything with less purpose for my remaining years. I no clue today what that is. But the foundational skills and passions are there. And that's my story. And the exercise has centered me a bit.